Kevin Feige has never been in this position before. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is on its heels, trying to find some sort of solid ground from whence it can tell stories. With everything out of Phase 4 and Phase 5 looking like it could lead to a sick Phase 6, what will Marvel do? The Marvels, of course, has been a major disaster. Deadpool 3 now has many people concerned about what happens if they fail. We're here to tell you, folks, that the latest news is Marvel is going in the same direction as they were in some ways, and in other ways, they are definitely making rapid changes to try to save the future of the MCU. Hello folks, welcome back to the WDW Pro channel. Always a joy to get to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. We also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been a part of this 50,000 subscribers in just 11 months. What a true honor it is to have your vote of confidence each and every time you click subscribe. But don't click it too many times. And if you do, make sure you click it once, 3 times, 5 times. You get the idea, folks. Make sure it's on, not off. We also have someone who is always on. That is Spencer of Bounding Into Comics back on the channel. Spencer, welcome back, sir.
Hey, Pro. I'm happy to be here. It's been a while. I've missed every single one of you, all 50,000 of you.
That's right. And Spencer, we have some exciting news about you. So we talked about last week or the week before that John F. Trent was coming to thatparkplace.com as the editor-in-chief. And people were saying, well, what about Bounding Into Comics? What about Bounding Into Comics? And now I think there's a bit of exciting an announcement to make here. Spencer, what has happened?
Yeah, so for all intents and purposes, you are now looking at the new editor-in-chief of Bounding Into Comics. I'm happy to step into the role that John had, created. They're big shoes to fill. I'm not going to lie. It's very intimidating. John did an amazing job. He set up an institution in our community, right? And so I'm obviously here for That Park Place. I'm here to support John in That Park Place. But yeah, I'm here at Bounding now, and I hope I can continue serving all of you just as well as he did.
Well, we're very excited for new endeavors, and now it's time, folks, to endeavor into the story. Here we go. Out of Deadline, Loki creator Michael Waldron to write Marvel Studios' Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. This by Justin Kroll, who is definitely not a Skrull. But as we get into this, folks, we're going to have a different take, I think. At least I will. I don't know what Spencer's going to say about Michael Waldron, but you're going to get a little bit of a different insight. And I've talked to some people around this who have given me some additional context. Michael Waldron has been tapped to write Marvel Studios' Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Waldron has already been set to write Avengers: Secret Wars, the installment that would follow Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, and will now write both Avengers sequels. That also means I would suggest that the Kang Dynasty is being completely rewritten. I don't see any other way to view it than that. Waldron has become one of Marvel's most trusted creative minds, having previously created and served as showrunner of Season 1 of Loki, as well as writing Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, and the move makes sense to the studio to have him pen both films. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige will produce. Spencer, the way this has been viewed, I think, at large, has been that this is a horrible mistake, that Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness was a major letdown, that Loki Season 1 was also a major letdown, and so why are they continuing to go back to somebody who is better known for writing Rick and Morty than for producing a successful piece of Marvel content? Spencer, let me go to you and get your take on this first, and then I'll share what my thought is on this one.
Yeah, so I think I am of that mindset where when Waldron got the job as the Loki writer, I, like many of us, was very perplexed. If you look at his credits, he literally has one episode of Rick and Morty to his name prior to Marvel, and a handful of episodes of Community, and another show called Good Game, but I'm not really familiar with that one. But so you have a writer with a handful of credits to his name, obviously working in writers' rooms and not show running anything. And then you hand him, this Loki was sort of the opening chapter of the multiverse saga, right? We had Endgame, we epilogued it with Far From Home, and then what's next? Well, here we go, Disney Plus TV era. Let's go Loki. Let's go out big. And this is who you hire to go behind it, right? And obviously Loki had its fans, a lot of the honestly fangirls, they love what's his name, Tom Hiddleston. They were all about that. So the show enjoyed some success. But in the aftermath, a lot of the reviews, a lot of the reflections were, it's kind of a mess. They did a lot of weird things here. What's up with the Infinity Stones? What's up with the different dimensions now? What's up with all, how does Kang exactly, it was really confusing. It was all over the place. So having Waldron still attached is, it's a curious idea, especially in light of the fact that now this is Avengers. This is, for all intents and purposes, where we're at now. Kang Dynasty is the last, that's Marvel going up to the plate with two outs, 2 strikes, no runners on base. You need that last home run to stay in the game. And it's kind of like putting up your rookie, you drafted him last year, but he hasn't really put up the numbers, and you might be looking to drop him this season. That's kind of how I feel Waldron's promotion to Kang Dynasty writer is.
and I would just suggest too that probably, I don't know this for sure, but I would say the person they're getting ready to drop is Jonathan Majors. I don't know that for sure, but they've got to have that in their mind. And so I would think that the way that they're writing the Kang Dynasty and the future of Marvel has to be such that they can swap him out with somebody. Whether that is that he morphs into another character that looks completely different, or whether they're going to cast somebody of the same visage, we shall see. When it comes to Michael Waldron, Spencer, what I have been told by some sources, and I can't validate them except to say that I think they're in the know on this. They seem to have very good insights and have been around these individuals enough to have a solid standing on it. They suggest to me that they think what's going on here is that Michael Waldron may have been undercut. That's how I'm going to put this. That They feel as though, especially in Loki, they think that Kate Herron, who was the, I believe she was the director on on Loki season 1, they feel that she really came in and undermined what he was trying to do. And so they point to the first 2 episodes as being completely Michael Waldron content. They think, and they suggest it's excellent. And I agree with them that the first 2 episodes are excellent.
Those, I can definitely get behind that. I agree with that.
And then what they say is that the powers that be wanted to put the message into more of those episodes that came later. And we saw that, by the way, where one of those episodes, the one that was on the train and was utterly boring and trite, that was only there to make Loki be someone of a different orientation than the norm. And so that apparently was the entire purpose, and that was what was said was the purpose, but that wasn't necessarily Michael Waldron. So they say the jury's out. I'm not here to say that Michael Waldron is fantastic or awesome or that we should overlook this, but they suggest that the jury is out. The other thing they said, too, is that with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it was one of those deals where you're given all of these different beats that have to happen, and you look at it and go, how in the world do we make this?
Yeah.
How? And so that's... so anyway, I am not completely negative about Waldron. I think that he may be an excellent writer who needs to be allowed to do what he can do.
And I agree with that, and I can give him the benefit of the doubt, because I also, you say those those whispers that you've heard, I kind of tend to believe, just considering what we've seen out of the studio. We've seen how Marvel loves their overwrite everything for the message. We know that Kate Herron was out here giving interviews talking about how one of her main, if not the main objective in creating Loki was to define Loki as bisexual, right? So I can totally believe that. Plus, we know that Marvel Studios is sort of like a factory grindhouse. Doctor Strange being a product of just studio overreach, I can 100% believe that, because that's what it feels like on screen, right? With the desperate Illuminati play, with the America Chavez play, you're hurting me now. Which isn't quite dead.
These are so bad. Hopefully Marvel can return to some semblance of excellence. I doubt it, but I'm going to hold out some hope for Michael Waldron. If he fails miserably, then 3 strikes you're out, I say. So he's got one more strike to go. This is by the new editor-in-chief over at Bounding Comics, Spencer Baculi.
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, the Marvel star Iman Vellani says the key to saving the MCU is good writing, not bigger stakes. It's just about making the audience care about their characters. Spencer, how much more can this young lady make us like her? What is going on here?
I honestly do not know, Pro. Iman Vellani is just a genuine ray of sunshine. Every time I see her, every time she's in an interview, I just light up with just joy. Like, this smile is genuine. I even can tell you, Pro, from Bounding's readers, that it's a sentiment that's widely held. Everybody can kind of agree. Miss Marvel was meh. It was for young adults. It's not for us. The Marvels was a disaster. Everything else that we're seeing is a disaster, but good gosh, is Iman Vellani just the best.
Until I am proven otherwise, Spencer, this woman's a genius. They asked her, what do you make of this horrible box office for the Marvels? And she said, it's not my problem, it's Bob's. It's dang it, Bob's fault. And I said,
dang it,
whoa,
Bob. She knows it.
she just threw it on the CEO of the company. And now here she is saying, it's the writers. It's the writers. We have to have good writing.
She throws it on the CEO. One of my favorite moments still is from, I believe it was one of the Marvel's premiere events or a Miss Marvel premiere event where whatever news outlet it was talking to Iman Vellani about the whole Earth 616 1999 designation. And Vellani was straight up like, yeah, it's not 616. I don't know who, like, Feige's wrong. Like, that's not what it is. And then she according to Vellani, immediately after that, after talking with that reporter while they're like breaking ways, she caught eyes with Kevin Feige, and he did the whole like, I hear you, like and he like signed to her like 616, and it's like, wow, she knows.
Right. Let's read some of your article here.
One of us.
It says, according to the Marvel star Iman Vellani, the only way for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to regain the level of widespread hype it once enjoyed is for the franchise to stop constantly attempting to raise the stakes with bigger and badder threats and instead return to more character-focused stories. Oh my gosh. Iman Vellani, are you a viewer? Are you a subscriber? Please become a member. Seemingly the last person in the entire cinematic endeavor who will still genuinely care for its material, Vellani offered her thoughts on the currently abysmal state of the MCU during an exclusive November 2023 interview given to the Direct's Russ Milheim. Asked by Milheim if she had any ideas as to how the franchise could recapture the beloved cultural status it held during the Avengers Endgame era, she certified, I don't know. I don't know if it's about just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because then, like, what's left? That's what we've been saying. Miss Marvel started a star, Captain Marvel restarted a star by flying into it and getting flatulated out the other side. Enough of this. Enough of the multiverse.
She could have done it anytime, but I digress. We don't need to get into the Marvels again.
We don't talk about the Marvels. All right, so then going to John Trent's article over here on thatparkplace.com, She-Hulk Attorney at Law Season 2 is probably not going to happen due to poor audience reception. A new rumor claims that Marvel Studios is likely to scrap a planned second season for She-Hulk Attorney at Law due to poor audience reception. The latest rumor comes from Scooper Thwip T on X, who posted She-Hulk originally planned to have a Season 2, but due to poor reception, it's probably not going to happen. Now, one of the additional context to this, Spencer, is that She-Hulk is extraordinarily costly to make because of all the CGI, and the CGI is bad. So
about what was it, a quarter of $1 billion to make that show?
Yes, 225 is where it was pegged, very close to $250 million, and you can't spend that on a show that performs this poorly. No. But I do think this points to Marvel is quietly starting to scrap the stuff that doesn't work. I don't know how they're going to scrap the full roster of things that don't work, because that has been the majority of their content lately. But Spencer, do you think this is a step in the right direction?
I think it's really hard to say. I will admit that, it's been 20-something years of the MCU, and for the last 5, 10, or not even 10, that's way too long, 5, 6, right? I've seen moments where I've heard the right thing come out of a unexpected writer or an unexpected actor, and it's given me, that little spark of, oh, maybe there's something here. And I mean, here we are now looking, in a post-Marvel's world where clearly it's not on an upward trend. So I don't know if it's to me, it honestly sort of feels like they don't even know what they're trying to do right now. It definitely feels like we're seeing evidence of creative differences finally rearing their head, where you've got people, we know Bob and Feige have admitted that they need to be better at, quote, curating their Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, Pixar, all their content.
Here's an idea: get the activism
whatever
out of
that
it.
means.
That's what I would say.
Oh no! We don't need to change the writing. We need to curate it, which is exactly why I put that in quotation marks. Because curate, we have to better curate our stuff. Sounds great, but this is Disney we're talking about. This is Iger. This is Feige. This is not. You cannot take that at face value. So,
and the company is largely ran now by partisan hacks. That's what the animators are telling Film Threat. Is that
absolutely?
Yeah, the whole thing's been run amok.
Overrun, run amok. We have all the behind the scenes stuff that is leaked courtesy of Chris Rufo. It's no secret.
Agreed. And I would say that my stance on Marvel right now is they have a long, long road to go to restore themselves to any semblance of what they once were. That said, I'm open. Show me, Marvel. And when you do this, we're not even going to bring this up for a significant part of this video, but when you got the Agatha show coming out, and there's like 500 other Marvel characters that people would rather see than Agatha. The only reason that an Agatha show makes any sense whatsoever is if you're going to try to get the Hocus Pocus crowd to show up and watch that during October. So if it's a 4-episode, mini-series in October, whatever. But of all the characters you could choose. And so that's the kind of thing where I'm looking at it and saying, you need to pivot, and you need to pivot hard. And then we need to see. We need to see it, because one of the pivots, though, let's say this. We'll give them some credit. ThwipT, which is an account that leaks a lot of stuff on Disney, does so with specificity and accuracy, and therefore makes us wonder exactly who is behind this. Might be Disney, might not. We don't know. But ThwipT says Young Avengers will be a Disney Plus show. So now that's out in the ether. That's now, the journos out there, the analysts are all thinking about it. Maybe it paves the way to them having a better reception of it. I think Young Avengers was clearly aimed at being a theatrical release in the future. Now it's just a Disney Plus show. And who knows? Disney Plus shows can more easily be canceled. Way more easily be canceled. I would say almost anything that had a connection with the Marvels has a stink on it now that you just can't get rid of, other than our wonderful Iman Vellani is not included in that. I don't care if Miss Marvel was a failure on Disney Plus. I don't care if she was part of the Marvels. We are here to say that anybody who will throw the blame down on Bob Iger and on the writers and on Kevin Feige, she can stick around. We'll take her.
Especially somebody coming out of the franchise. Like, we say this stuff all the time, but to hear somebody who's in the know, I love it. Absolutely love it.
That's right. And maybe Disney has learned. Maybe they cannot Gina Carano, Iman Vellani.
Ooh, they'll try.
If she steps too far out of line, they'll do it. But ThwipT says the Young Avengers going to Disney Plus. Spencer, what do you think the likelihood we actually see a Young Avengers on Disney Plus might be?
At this point, it's got to be close to zero. Obviously, we know that the Young Avengers has sort of been molded around in the MCU miasma since, Scott was introduced and we got his daughter, Cassie Lang, way back in Ant-Man 1. And obviously, we got development on it with Miss Marvel and America Chavez, and Kate now from Hawkeye is around. So you've got all of these building blocks. But one, we know there's no solid plan yet for a Young Avengers actual project. And we don't know where it would fit into the multiverse saga or any of where they currently are, any of this pit they're trying to dig themselves out of. And you've got so far to go still to sort of introduce a viable roster for a Young Avengers TV show. You've got those 3 girls now, and then assumably we'll get what's his name? Wanda's son, I believe, is going to be in Agatha. So he's going to be a member of the Young Avengers, I presume.
This is where we are, Spencer. You don't know his name. Exactly. I don't know his name. And we cover this every day. Nobody knows.
Every day. And we've been talking about Agatha all weekend, ever since the Blu-ray came out. All the extras have dropped. And so in regards to the Young Avengers, I just think that's obviously what they're going for, but we're so far out with such a lack of direction or concrete ideas. I don't see it happening, or at least not in a form that anybody, even Marvel, is going to imagine it's going to end up as. in other words, fans and audiences and even Disney themselves are probably thinking we're going to get a big bad 6-7 episode Young Avengers series that's a full roster that does the full shebang. Maybe we'll even go back to the comics and just go take those stories. But I feel like by the time they get there, kind of like with the Marvels, it'll be oh man, we have to make this movie. We've got 3 of the 7 actors we need. Okay, this is young A-Force, or like I feel like there's going to be some sort of pivot, right?
Well, it's going to be hard, depending on how long it takes. It's going to be hard to make Haley Steinfeld be a young Avenger when she's going to be in her 30s by the time it hits.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize until the end credits of the Marvels that she's supposed to be like 15. Like that's or no, sorry, no. Her character is like 20. And I'm just like, your character is like early 20, you're like late 20s. There's no Young Avengers happening here. You're just an Avenger at this point.
You're older than many of the regular Avengers when they started being Avengers. Good Lord. Well, Spencer, it's been a joy. I think we have fairly, divided out what we think about Marvel. Some things are being changed. Some things are going ahead. Not much, I think, is going ahead as planned as usual. And we hope that Iman Vellani rises as a voice to correct this thing, but it is a long, long road back, and we will have to see evidence that they have received the message, not the message, but the message from the market before we entrust them with being good entertainment once more. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Were we too kind to Marvel? You may be saying, it's dead, it's over, let it go, pro. Yet we are forced to report on it each and every day. Also, folks, make sure you go check out...
We do it so you don't have to.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Also, folks, that's what I thought when you brought up the Marvel's in thing. I thought, they don't know what was in there.
Oh, yeah.
We're the poor fools who went and saw it.
So we're gonna have to insert a little title card back there that says, pause here, go look up the Marvels, come back to us.
Don't blame us when you see it. Everybody, make sure you go check out Spencer over at Bounding Into Comics. And folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Say it ain't so. This just in. Disney lost money on another movie. Why, that can't be. I thought that John Lasseter fella over at Pixar was cranking out the latest hits, and Marvel was unstoppable, and Disney princesses were a thing, and Star Wars was a multi-billion-dollar money-making franchise.
I overheard you talking about Disney, and wanted to let you know you're really behind the ball. If you were getting great articles from thatparkplace.com and subscribe to WDW Pro's YouTube channel, you'd actually be ahead of the culture curve and have entertainment explained.